Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your June 16th to the 30th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel out, and thank you so much for doing so. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh, that's intense. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, the heart, the emotional self. And the right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Six of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Two of Swords. So we're very much in our own head, Aquarius. The Six of Swords, oh, this is a very interesting depiction right here. We'll get to everything more up close in a moment. We're moving forward, but it is a painful move because she is being moved by crows by her arms. The Eight of Swords is being way too much in our own heads. We're going to have a tendency to just overthink, overanalyze everything. And then the Two of Swords is actually we're going to see worlds starting to open up to us that we hadn't realized. So we have to be open to new ideas. It's going to be very important during this time. It's actually going to be something that's very hard to do because we're going to be so much in our own heads. We're going to hyper-analyze things and think that we're lacking when we're really not. In our inner selves, we have the Death card, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. And then we have the King of Swords. We're represented by the swords in the minor arcana. We're represented by the star in the major arcana. So as the King of Swords comes forward, this is security, this is structure, this is a sense of us claiming our throne and our power, our insight, and our ideas. Our heart has the Knight of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The Ten of Swords, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, the minor arcana, Death card. The Three of Cups, now for me, always the Three of Cups are people who should be celebrating us, should have celebrated us, once did celebrate us, but couldn't stand with us. They're the people who betrayed us, hurt us. It's also telling us not to forget the people who have stood by our side, so that's going to be very important. And then we have the Four of Swords, needing to rest, needing to take a step back. Our mind needs to connect with our heart during this time. If it doesn't, we're going to feel lost in the abyss. So just be mindful of that. Then we have the Six of Cups. We're going to be highly nostalgic. And the Seven of Pentacles. We're going to need patience. One of the reasons why we're getting so frustrated is we're not seeing ourselves move forward in the public arena the way that we want to. Is this going to be a bad thing? No, it's not actually. The patience and the knowing that the time well spent is going to be it's just going to be very important to us. When things start to move forward, we're going to start to see them moving forward in a way that we hadn't anticipated, we hadn't expected. So let's look at our chakra energy. Aquarius, June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. We have self-mastery. This is the solar plexus chakra. This is a time where we have to pay attention to our gut feels. And we're going to see that by paying attention to our gut, to what we feed ourselves, to how we are moving ourselves forward, we're going to see ourselves starting to fall into alignment with where we want to be, with what we desire. This is a time where we start to see ourselves coming into our own in a very real way, a very powerful way. But if we ignore our gut feels, if we ignore our intuition, because we're going to try and want to analyze everything out and say, does it make sense? Is it what everybody else would do? What would people think? This is going to be a time where we need to step back from that. And even just trying to have it make sense for ourselves, this can be a time where it's like, listen, I need to jump. I need to express. I need to see. I need to figure out what's going on here. And the only way I will do that is by taking this leap of faith for me towards more. Now, the energy we need to be mindful of. What is the energy that Aquarius needs to be mindful of? June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. What is the energy that Aquarius needs to be mindful of? June 16th to the 30th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. The Prince of Wands. Now, that's very interesting because it's at our heart. And I was looking at this and I was thinking, this is going to be a little bit tricky because we could very well have been betrayed in our past, cheated on, things not worked out the way that we wanted them to, passions gotten really high and kind of went along with something. And then when we step back and look at it, it's like, oh, wow, how did I get swept up in this? So with the Prince of Wands, that energy is going to feel very comfortable to us. We're going to be very, very used to it, that swept up, that passion, that fire. Even if it doesn't feel comfortable to us, or that we've experienced it before, you might be laughing and saying, Dane, I've never been swept away in anything. It would be a great experience. What we have to be mindful of here is the person's intentions. We're going to be swept away. It's going to be passionate. It's going to be exciting. But then when something new and shiny comes around for them, they're just going to go after that. And so here we do have to be very mindful, Aquarius, because when we commit to something, we commit to it full-heartedly. And for others, they do not. So during this time, just be very mindful. But again, don't overthink everything because that's what we're going to have a tendency to do. The Six of Swords. Now, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Six of Swords is represented by a person with six swords in their boat. They're steering. There's a woman and a child in the boat with them. Here, there is no boat. She's being carried by ravens, by crows, by her arms. This is a painful transformation. And so for us, as we're moving forward, this is where the mind and the heart really start to come together. And it's a painful transformation. It can be that we're becoming aware of things that we rather would have left in the closet. We rather would have left unseen, unspoken about. But now it's starting to come to the surface. And we're realizing how much it has affected our rooted self, our passionate self, what we desire from life, where it is that we want to be. And it brings us to the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is doubt and fear. The Eight of Swords is being way too in our own heads, and people live their whole lives in the Eight of Swords, in a fear that is unfounded. No, it's not unfounded. It's blown out of proportion. It's being told Okay, you're blindfolded, right? You're tied. It's being told that no matter which way you turn, you're going to be cut by the swords. No matter what you do, you will not be able to escape. If you could see clearly, instead of having your hair bind you to the swords, you could find that, it could be cut off, right? We could work that hair to cutting it off. We could come back down to the ground and we could walk out, or we could just fly over the swords. What we're going to see here is that what we were told and the reality of the situation do not match. Now, we might be dealing with something where what we were told and the reality of the situation don't match, okay, from the past. And this could be the hurt and the pain of coming to those conclusions, of this painful awakening of the heart and the mind, and looking at things and being like, holy guacamole, like, that changed the whole trajectory of my life, and that was unfair. Now, it could be with a medical diagnosis, it could be during a divorce, somebody said this, and we find out that we thought that it was going to be like this, and then everything is shattered apart. It is going to have something to do with somebody who we thought we could trust, who we put our faith in, and who couldn't follow through. Now, the people that we put our faith in, it doesn't have to be a person who's in our lives all the time. It doesn't have to be, a parent or a sibling or a friend or, anything like that. It can be a doctor that we go to see. It can be, legal advice that we get, or a lawyer, somebody who we think, oh, wow, this person has the answers. And we find out they don't. Or we find out the information that they gave us was devastatingly wrong. It just wasn't right. And our lives are made up of these events. And they're hurtful, and they're painful, and they're overwhelming. But we cannot be tied to them for our whole entire lives. The dreams of the shouldas, the couldas, and the wouldas that want to destroy us, that is going to be too much. And it's going to be easy to fall into that pattern. It's going to be easy to overthink and overanalyze. It's because of nostalgia. It's because of hindsight is 2020. It's because of the rebirth that we're going through, and the fact that we need to rest and take care of ourselves, that we're going to start looking at things and being like, oh my goodness, did I completely mess up? Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to take this, and instead of giving blame where blame is due, I'm going to put this all on my shoulders and say, it should have been different. But here's the thing, we can't change it. And so it moves us to the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a realization that there are paths opening to us that we might never know could have opened. So when we're looking at things, sometimes we're very black and white, right? White page, black print, it's all spelled out. Now, when I was growing up, I thought you could stay at home and raise your kids, or you could go to work and be in corporate. And I always thought that I would stay at home, right? Because corporate just, it was too much and too cutthroat. And then you start to find as you grow, if you let yourself have these opportunities, it's like, no, there are more options out there. There's more to this world than what I had thought. So it can be, you're in the boat that I was in, where it's like, oh, it's going to be this or it's going to be this. And then all of a sudden, because neither one truly fits, right? It's going to be, oh, there's new doors opening. Oh, there's new avenues guiding me forward. And this is a time where we have to let Spirit be the guide, because there are doorways that are opening to us that we might never know even existed. So this is a time where wonderment starts coming in, where there's this intensity and power of purpose and insight and ideas, and letting ourselves open up to it, but also letting ourselves, with the stance of the feet, be guided by deeper sacred wisdom to move us forward, to balance us, and to call us. And this is a time where inwardly, we're embracing a rebirth. We're embracing a transformation. It's not going to be the same. And you know what's more? We don't want it to be the same. There's a sense here with Scorpio energy. Now it's a time frame of October 23rd to November 21st. So if you're looking for when will this change happen, or when did this change start, it can be around that time where it's like, I'm done with this. I want more. I'm looking for more. I'm being guided towards more. What we're going to see here is a transformation. What we're going to see here is fire and intensity and looking at things in a very different way. We're going to find ourselves maybe a little bit drawn to the darker side of things, like a rather dark sense of humor, or a sense of beauty in what others might write off. And this is going to be a time for us where we start to embrace that beauty, where we start to embrace the transformative aspect of life and living, and see something really quite powerful within it. But we're also going to be mourning the fact that who we are is not the same as who we once were. And sometimes that's a very good thing, but it always brings a bit of sadness. It's either, wow, I could have gotten here so much earlier, or I'm so different than the way I thought my life would have gone. It's so different. And so here with the Death card, we see that transformation, and we respect that transformation, and we respect every single aspect of our lives that have made us into a king. Because a good king is not the person who gives their people everything that they want. It's kind of like the good parent isn't the parent who gives their children everything that they want. There has to be limits. There has to be rules or, some sort of boundary so they don't just run amok. And that's what we're going to see here with ourselves as we cut through doubts and fears, as we rule our lives, as we move ourselves forward. There are boundaries that we are embracing and accepting. There are ideas that we are letting come forward within our lives. There's a sense that we are going to be seen, because kings are the actors upon the stage, queens the directors behind the scenes. So this is a time where we are going to let our energy be known. We are going to let it show. We're moving towards empowerment, towards introspection, towards greater ideas, and we're cutting through a lot of nonsense. We're also going to find that we're brutally honest. This is also what can trap us, where we can call ourselves out on things, and instead of saying, wow, this is part of my growth and part of my journey, we'll be like, wow, I'm just a failure, or wow, that person's a failure. And so here, stepping back and saying, I'm seeing, and I'm keeping my ideas to myself and to what I desire. And I'm opening up the world to me. We're also going to get people who have very strong opinions of their own coming forward, and they can really tick us off during this time, because we're going through this rebirth and they're doing their thing. And we can sit there and say, wow, this person just doesn't understand, because they don't. And we're going to have to take that as part of the knowledge and the presence and the energy of this time, that they do not understand the way that we're moving forward, that there's a bit more discernment here, there's a bit more knowledge coming to the table here than what they themselves are privy to. So that is going to be very empowering during this time. There's going to be a fire and intensity to us when it comes to the King of Swords. Now, also, there is a sense of what I have worked for starts to pay off. And it might not be, again, in the way that we had envisioned it. This is a time to keep our minds open, to keep an open mind, to keep an open connection, because what we're doing is we're moving forward in our passion. But our hearts, as we move forward in this passion, everything is not fully completed, because the Ouroboros is on his tunic. They are not closed. They're open. So the Ouroboros is opened, and we're thinking, okay, I have all the information. No, we have to step back. We have to look at things. We have to cut through a lot of muck and mire to be able to say, oh, this is right. This is what I need. This is what I desire. This is what I want to be. This is the way I want to move forward. And so the Knight of Wands comes in with fire and intensity and wants to, again, sweep us up. And we're going to have tremendous passion. This is the reason for getting out of bed in the morning. This is the passion that guides us. This is the fire that leads us. And we're going to have this passion wanting to sweep us in one direction or another. And this is a time where we kind of need to step back and say, okay, what is it that's truly important to me? And why we don't want to step back is because, again, as soon as we step back, we're catapulted into that place of transformation, that place of rebirth, that place of looking at the darkness, the doubts, the fears, the angers, the upsets. We have the Ten of Swords. Again, it's the Minor Arcana Death card for me. This is a sense of the darkness before the dawn. And this is also every single piece of information that we have been getting over a decade, over, 10 months, 10 years, well, that would be a decade, 10 days, where it could be just a really tough time. And we feel like, wow, one betrayal after another, one hurt after another, one setback after another. How do I move forward? Where is it that I get to be? And we're not seeing that this is actually a wealth. Swords in medieval times and before, they were astoundingly valuable. They took a heck of a lot of time. Even if you see them today, they still take time. And they're different than the staff. The staff you would learn on. The sword was your end goal. So with the sword, it is simply a weapon. And when you have something that is simply a weapon, it takes time, it takes effort. It's a sign of nobility. When you have the sword coming through, as we have the sword coming through a lot in this reading, you have this sense of time, effort, skill, hardship, pain, disappointment, elation coming through. And during this time, we have all of that. But a lot of it focuses on the struggle. And what we're going to see here is that we hold more information than we could have imagined. there's more passion, there's more knowledge, there is more that has come to us in ways that we wish it wouldn't have. It comes through heartbreak, it comes through pain, it comes through disappointment, but it has transformed us. And as we look back, again, we're not going to be the same person that we were. But that is actually, if we have patience over time, we will see that that is actually a good thing. Because the Three of Cups is showing us that there is hurt and there is pain, that we relied on people that let us down. Now, with relying on people that let us down, there is also this sense of, I can do it myself. I can, prepare things myself. I can move forward in the passion for myself, for what I desire, for what I need. Now, we can get a little bit too into that energy, mindset, headspace where I'm not going to be betrayed again. I'm going to set it up so I can do everything on my own, which is perfectly fine. If we're happy being there, then be there, if that's the place you need to be in your life right now. But there is also a need to know that not everybody who we trust is going to betray us. I know people see the Three of Cups as happiness and celebration and joy and coming together. And that's true for a part of it. But for me, if I just read it that way, it's just not right. And so it's a warning, and it has always been a warning, that there are insecurities coming around abandonment. There are insecurities coming around heartbreak. There are insecurities coming around people that we thought we could trust, that had our backs, that just don't. They have their own agendas. And it's not saying that, we have always been there for other people. We've never been a Three of Cups person, a person who wasn't able to be around for others. No, we have been. And it's also owning that. But it's saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm done letting people into my life that just can't. That can't show up, that can't be the person that I want, that can't move forward the way that I need them to. And for that, I'm letting them go. And it can be our caregivers that raised us. It can be our siblings. It can be our best friends or our friends. And it's time to let these people go. Be as cordial, as you need to be. But don't let them in again. And it's time to value the inner circle that has shown up, that has, done right by you. It leads you to the Four of Swords. It leads you to a place of needing to rest, needing to look at things anew, needing to look at your life and the hardships and the pains and the disappointments that you have been through, and not poo-poo them, because we tend to poo-poo it. Oh, that was no big deal. Oh, that was no big deal. No, it was a big deal. We have been through things in our lives that would bring others to their knees, and we have kept going. It is a big deal. It's time to honor yourself. It's time to honor the journey that you have been through. It's time to call yourself out on what needs to be called out on. But never dismiss yourself. There is passion and there is brilliance and there is prosperity here. Let it shine. But it comes through rest. Okay, sleep is going to be very important. It comes through rest and it comes through inner contemplation. It leads us to the public arena, and in the public arena, we have to be very careful because we're vulnerable. The public arena has us looking towards the past, opening up our hearts and saying, I want it to be like it once was. And it can't be. We can't ever walk backwards. Have you ever tried to recreate something that was just perfect? And then you try to recreate it and you have all these high hopes and it's just not going to be perfect anymore. It's not going to be that same time, that same feeling, that same essence. And that's important. It's important to understand that we have moments. But it's also important to understand that because of us being in our own heads and feeling trapped and feeling overwhelmed and so much thinking and so much acknowledgement of pain is coming here, that we are going to find the hurts from the past, the curses that people spoke over us. And it doesn't mean that they cursed us, like Maleficent. It means that they didn't know better themselves, or they let their anger get the best of them. And they spoke it over us. And it stuck. You know how things stick and how other things don't? Well, it's stuck. And as we're moving forward now, it can very well be the thought of, am I still worthless? I don't have any talent. I'm not pretty, I'm not handsome, I'm not strong, I'm not this, I'm not that. So I can't be worth anything. And those thoughts start to come up. And if we don't let ourselves rest, if we don't take care of ourselves, we're going to erode our own defenses. And And we're going to be more vulnerable to this sort of attack. So do be mindful of it. It leads us to the Seven of Pentacles. We want the past to return, right? But the Seven of Pentacles is saying, be patient. The present, the gift that divinity is going to be giving us is really quite extraordinary and will change the course of us in a very real way. This is a time to be patient in the public arena. This is a time to be patient for us and what we desire and where we want to be. Because divinity has a plan, but divine time is not our time and will never be. Our subconscious chakra message is grounding the Earth Star chakra. We need to focus on our roots, on what grounds us, on what nourishes us, on how we're taking care of ourselves. Because if we don't focus on the root of us, and we're focusing on everything else, we can see the soil erodes. We can see the roots start to decay, and we start to fall. So here, it's paying attention to how we're nourishing our bodies and our souls and ourselves, and what's supporting us. It leads us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's the Hierophant, the High Priest. Taurus energy, time frame April 20th to May 20th. But this is also a sense of letting somebody else's will become stronger than our own. This is a sense of not following our spark, of not staying true to who we are. Yeah. And feeling things fall away. So do be mindful of that. Also, just really stubborn energy, really stubborn people we're coming up against. And we're going to think, well, it's not a problem if I give in here or if I, give in there, which it's not going to be. But for the bigger things, and we're up against a really stubborn person, we're going to think, oh, well, maybe I'll just stay quiet because, that's what I usually do. No, this is a time where we go after what we want and not let somebody else bully us. Our subconscious rooted message is the Five of Swords. The heartbreak, the pain, the disappointment. Ooh, this is disturbing. Okay, so we see that? Okay, and I'm just putting that down over here. But the Five of Swords, because I don't like it. The Five of Swords is this sense of I need to face the fears that I had before. The heartbreaks, the pains, the disappointments, right? I need to face the traumas from the past that are coming up. Things that are coming up that I thought I was done with this. I thought, I've lived this before. I've handled this before. Why is it coming up now? And it's trying to knock us off our course because we are vulnerable. And that's the time where hardships come and say, well, I'm just going to take advantage of this. No, we are moving towards freedom. Excuse me. And that's what we need to embrace during this time. Our subconscious inner self is the Six of Swords. Boundaries, it says here. The Six of Swords is us taking what is needed and moving forward. Obtaining our boundaries, yes, but also looking at what inspires us, what guides us, what leads us, and saying, there's more here. And embracing the mental and the emotional aspect of this. A coming together of the mind and the emotions. It leads us then to our subconscious emotional self, which is the Hierophant. So as much as the Hierophant can be somebody that we have to kind of war against, emotionally, it can be somebody that we're connected to emotionally. It can be a lover, it can be, a caregiver, it can be a friend. What we're going to see here is that we can be just as stubborn as they can be. We have to embrace our stubbornness. We have to embrace, not our stubbornness, but what's true for us. The essence of us, that if we go against this, we go against everything we are and everything we want to be. The kingdom of heaven opens if we look at the tenacity of our spirit and the power of our hearts. And it brings us then to our subconscious public arena, which is the Lovers. If we don't fall completely into nostalgia, and if we are patient, we start to open up to what we love, and life starts to be what we love again. This is also Gemini energy, May 21st to June 20th, being the time frame. It's time to call love in. It's time to let love be a part of us. And it's time not to be afraid of what that love, or the impact that love will have on our lives. All right, Aquarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we get out of our own way, and let Spirit guide us forward. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius.